Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I am your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And as you can see, folks, I am currently solo dolo, but it's okay because we should be getting the arrival of Infinite Umbra momentarily. Folks, listen, for the next 70-ish minutes, we got two big topics to get into. And obviously, there's been some further fallouts from the games community regarding the price increase of Xbox Game Pass yesterday. We got some additional information from a few stories that were run about the website crashing and being down the entire day. With, I guess it goes in conjunction with how many people actually unsubscribed from Xbox Game Pass. But it's not going to be a Negative Nancy podcast in its entirety. We're going to be getting into the big news, the exciting news, ladies and gentlemen, of the fact that Prototype is apparently being remade, and it's not the only one. Apparently, there is not only a remake that is being worked on, but there is also potentially a sequel to Prototype, and we're going to get into that because that information comes the way of a Reddit post from April, which I was able to pull. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, listen, let's welcome in everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me here today. Again, hopefully Umbra will be here momentarily because, again, folks, he does work midnights, so we want to give him some slack. But I did talk to him yesterday, and he was up for, and I used it to him loosely, up for hanging out for 60 minutes with me here today. And the reason why you don't see Money with me again this week is because the work schedule was all jacked for him. So unfortunately, he had to not show up today, but he will be back probably next week with no issues. But hey, man, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for again hanging out with me. We're gonna get into the big news, but again, let me catch up with some of the chat in here and say hello to everybody. Thank you again for yesterday. Yesterday's breaking news video has skyrocketed to above almost over 5,000 views. And again, it's we were normally getting those kind of views a couple of years ago. There's been some big switches into the algorithm, so we haven't had like a 5,000 plus video in a while. So obviously, it was big news yesterday, and that news, if you missed out and you were under a rock or maybe you were unconscious somewhere, hopefully not. Xbox has decided that it was in the company and stockholders' best interest to raise Xbox Game Pass Ultimate by 50%. That's right, folks. You heard correct. 50%. It went from a standardized $20 a month fee to now $30. And obviously, we broke down yesterday the tiers. There are a total of 3 tiers. There is a average tier, there is a middle tier, and there is the premium tier. The premium tier is $29.99 a month. The starting tier, which is $10, that gets you kind of into the door about at least playing online. They added a few things to it. I don't think that the value is there personally because I don't play Fortnite. I know I've gotten a lot of messages from people that say, hey man, listen, I have kids, and that $12 is a big savings, so I like it. Hey, listen, not every flavor is going to be for every taster, right? Some are going to be different than others. Some are going to find value more than others, and that's perfectly fine. But look, at the end of the day, it happened. It's done. I'm actually slightly disappointed that we did not see an announcement from Xbox and any of the big brass, confirming what I thought was going to be a reverse engines moment, like we saw with Xbox Live Gold. I honestly thought for sure that we would see that happen just based on the outcry and the disappointment with fans. And so far, that hasn't happened. Now, I don't know if there was any kind of emergency meeting at Redmond to kind of maybe right the ship. I've said this publicly. I think that the increase is $5 too much. It is the wrong message. It is the wrong time. And considering the world that we live in, it's just really ugly and bad optics. And again, I just want this to be clear. I have no ill will towards Phil or Sarah, or Matt or Aaron Greenberg or any of the executives, because this is a decision, folks, that might have come from a pay grade that's even higher than theirs, and they hold pretty, stout positions within Xbox. Um, I am gonna say this though, and maybe it wasn't the right time, because I keep saying about being the right time, right place. Um, we didn't hear from any of the brass after this happened. And I know that usually the brass for Xbox retreats into their bunker and they kind of just sit it out. And then at some point or another, maybe they'll address it. And then they'll come back a day later and say, hey, listen, we understand people are disappointed. People are, wanted a cheaper price, but this is why. We haven't gotten that yet. So I'm honestly a little disappointed in regards to that not being a thing. I thought for sure that we would see some sort of rebuttal. Listen, there are ways that this could have been handled better, at least in my opinion. I mean, what, folks, let me get some of your opinions. Look, it happened. It's done. I'm not happy about it, and I know I've gotten even some messages with people that actually have said to me, and it's fine. People are in their feels. Hey, Boom, why do you care so much? You're paid up until X, Y, and Z. Folks, here's the thing. I'm not going to apologize for being a good consumer. Because if I don't take care of myself as a consumer, you can't expect anybody else to take care of you. I'm sorry, you just can't. And I'm not going to apologize for being paid up until October 3rd of 2028. That is what being a good consumer is about. And if you are looking to save a buck or two, you will go to the CD Keys. You will go to the Aniba, which now CD Keys is called loaded.com. And you will go there, and if you have the spare ducats, you'll load up on these things. Black Friday is a great day to do, a great opportunity. The Black Friday week has always been a great way to get it for sometimes as much as 50% off. But look, what I want to kind of focus on is some of the reporting that's gone on. Now, this original report, and I'm not exactly even sure who's this from. It looks like it might be Game Rank. Had a story where it says Xbox Game Pass cancellation page crashes following price hike. That happened live on the air yesterday. And, again, there was some thought and some theories as to what it actually may be, that it could be just coincidence. Folks, I don't think it's coincidence at all. I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. Not when it comes to business. Now, could it have crashed because you had folks doing some sort of a DOS attack? I mean, maybe. That's always possible. I know for a fact, and again, I got to use notes because obviously there is a lot here. Destin Legary, and everyone knows Destin, whether you like him, love him, or somewhere in the middle. I like Destin a lot, as a matter of fact. I think he's a damn good journalist. I'm happy to support him outside of IGN, and I'm glad that he has been at the forefront of this. Well, he did a post where there was a graph, ladies and gentlemen, and that graph had spiked considerably when it comes to seeking information on how to cancel your Xbox Game Pass subscription. And it spiked, I mean, like I said, folks, a lot on October 1st. It went from minuscule, no one's talking about it, all the way up to it's raging out of control. Now, granted, I don't know for sure how many people are faking the funk. How many people are actually going to unsubscribe? Because, again, if you just look at, for instance, October, well, we're on October 2nd, and there are 3 really big games from Xbox Game Studios coming out. You have The Outer Worlds, you have Ninja Gaiden 4, and you also have Double Fine's new game. And I'm going to be playing all of them. I cannot wait. Now, Um, it's just one of those things where maybe people were searching it just to see what it was. But I mean, like, if you're not going to cancel, ladies and gentlemen, like, why would you like search it out? So Destin's tweet, and it's pretty damning, but it's very simple and it's complex. It says, "Well, this seems bad for Xbox Game Pass." End quote. Very simple, but he's not wrong. And when you go to the related queries and you're just checking out what the ranking is, 16, 17, 18, and 19 on this rank came in at PC, Xbox Game Pass PC at 16, Xbox Ultimate Game Pass at 17. At 18 was Game Pass Ultimate Price, 19 cancel Game Pass, and 20 cancel Xbox Game Pass. So people are searching this out, folks. Again, this is not a mistake. And you know what? Look, yesterday I said a lot, right? We did a 2-hour podcast. I had a bunch of guests roll through. Everyone had some different opinions. Shout out to Fuzzy Belvedere for popping on the back end. Obviously, Korkenstein had his thoughts and his theories. And of course, who opened the show with me is Crispy Bomb, who's probably in the chat right now. And one of the things for me anyway that jumped off the page, I didn't have an opportunity to put my thoughts together for at the time, because it's emotional, right? Now I had time to sit on it. 24 hours have passed. So I kind of did this thing in my head, folks, and I kind of want to run it past you and get your thought. And again, as soon as we can get Umbra in here, maybe I'll even do Lapoa. So if we just work with the pricing, the original Xbox Game Pass Ultimate price before the increase yesterday was $19.99, right? And for that $20, you got carte blanche for everything, right? Now that is $30, right? It's a $10 increase. So then I thought to myself, I said, at the $15 mark, which is $5 less, does this tier actually represent value, right? Because the $10 tier, in my opinion, gets you online, gets you a few things, right? Some of the stuff I could care less about. Some of the stuff, obviously, if you're going to play online with your friends on like Call of Duty or something that's not Warzone, anything that's not free to play, you have to pay to play with your friends. So obviously there's going to be a lot of people that just do that for the $10 so they can play with their friends. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know how much that's going to last, because I think you're going to see a lot of people go over to PC. And I don't know how much of that migration and how quickly that migration is going to happen. I honestly don't know. But it could happen at any time. PC is expensive. It's an expensive, gaming's an expensive hobby. Even an average PC is going to cost you about $1,200. A decent one. Does anyone have $1,200 to spend in the chat? I mean, I do. Do I want to spend that? The answer is, well, absolutely not. So, getting back to my point is, so there's a $15 tier. And the original $20 tier was $5 more, right? Does the $5 less for this so-called medium tier actually represent any value compared to what you were getting? And I say no. I say absolutely not. So again, this is one of those things that is going to be, it's going to be discussed. It's going to be talked about, and I think it should continue to be talked about. See, the one thing that that some people, you'll get a couple of people in the chat that'll be like, "Hey, Boom, you're talking about this again, and nobody wants to hear about it." Well, you know what? If you're one of those people, there are plenty of other podcasts you can check out. But the reason why I continue to do it is because you can't talk about this for one day and expect change to happen if you don't push the envelope forward. I'm here to tell you that is it going to be a conversation that happens next week? Probably not. I want to talk. I want to get back to talking about games. October is going to be, a banger month for games. I mean, you have Ghost of Yotai that just came out for PlayStation. You got 3 Xbox Game Studio games dropping this month. They're all bangers, in my opinion. I mean, it's just games and games and well, more games. So I want to get back to that. But this is a conversation I did want to open up, and I really wanted to get Umbra's thoughts. And unfortunately, he's not here as of yet. I'm going to try and reach out to him and see if I can get him on the horn. I normally don't like to, have my phone in my. Just give me a second, folks. Give me 1 second. Hey, brother, just seeing if you're going to join. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. I've been doing the business. It's cool. I'll talk to you in a minute. All right, there you go. I didn't realize I didn't mute it, folks. I was actually on the phone. There you go. I'm gonna have to cut that out of the thing. But yeah, so Umbro should be joining us momentarily. I want to get his hot take because obviously tonight him and Daniel are going to be breaking this down, and he has an incredible thumbnail. Again, does it actually represent what's happening? I don't know so much about that, but it is. This is a conversation that I think when you look back, and it's funny, I like to plan in advance when it comes to doing these shows. I like to be overly prepared. So if anything happens, I'm always prepared for it, whether that be notes, whether that be emails, whether that be dates, times, how you say someone's name. I put a lot of effort into this, folks. I think you're well aware of that. I don't have to say it, but I was starting to put together a look back to Xbox in 2025 as we get closer to the end of the year, because I like those kind of shows. Those are for me great shows, because what it ultimately does is give myself as well as the community like you a roadmap to what happened in that year. And I think that there are so many great things that have happened for Xbox in 2025. And then there's this black eye. When you start to, I was talking to my brother Neo Mental, and the way he described this price increase, besides it being egregious like me, was that it almost feels like Xbox is taking for granted the loyalty of its players. Now, again, that is, your mileage is going to vary on whether or not you believe that. But, when you look at Xbox and its history, there's been a lot of downtime, man. There's been some really bad years with no content. There's been some really bad years of decision making by leaders that just, seemed a bit out of touch with the games community. And as great as a year that they have had a one heck of a year. Their content from first party has been nothing short of amazing. The value of Xbox Game Pass at its $20 is leaps and bounds better than both Nintendo and PlayStation services combined. But then you have this, and I'm still trying to figure out how the heck they got to that $10 and not gone up like a minute. And I'm not saying that $5. If it would have been $5, I think we would have still had smoke. But okay, so let me just say this. Last night, Hargeet Chani made a great point. And I can't say specifically who I spoke to, but I did speak to somebody that confirmed exactly what Hargeet said. And if you missed Primetime Gaming, I'm going to be cutting it down into smaller videos as soon as this is done. And it is everything responsible for the $10 increase has to do with cloud gaming. That is what has been confirmed to me this morning. and it is very pricey depending on where you are per person per month for cloud gaming. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You know what? Chat, do me a favor. While we await Umbra to get in here, throw a 1 in the chat if you use cloud gaming. Throw a 2 in the chat if you can care less, because I've used it only a handful of times. I'm not playing on my phone, folks. My phone I got a nice phone, but the screen is, I have old man eyes. I'm not playing on that thing. So again, you got a couple of people here that have played on it, but most people don't. We got music 72. Of course, music 72 is gonna put a 3 in there. You were always funny, sir. Thanks so much for being there. But look, lots of 2s, and I'm right there with you. Look, I know that when this is gonna sound, maybe this is gonna sound a little ridiculous. There are 3 tiers right now. Very easy to understand. 10, 15, 30. Pretty standard fare. I'm wondering whether or not a customizable tier might have been something that they should have considered. Meaning that if you didn't care about Fortnite and its ridiculous $12.99 a month thing, then you don't need to have that in there. You don't care about cloud gaming, you don't have to have that in there. If you don't care about Ubisoft Plus Classics, which I don't, that doesn't have to be in there. And maybe, just maybe, it drops the price to $22 rather than $30. I mean, again, I'm just spitballing here, but hey, Umbra, what's going on, bro? How you feeling?
Hey, Boom, brother. Sorry about the being late, but yeah, I'm all right. Feeling okay. Not feeling too good about the Game Pass spikes, but yeah.
Well, you know what? Listen, let's jump right into that, because I've been talking for the last few minutes. I've given my thoughts and my theories. I did it yesterday twice. Pause. And I was ready to go all over again today. But I want to get your thoughts on this, because obviously, tonight you and Daniel McGee are going to be talking this up. And I know that based on your bombastic thumbnail, which is probably the best thumbnail I think you've ever done, really depicts what is in gamers' minds. And now it may not be the one-to-one truth, but it's what a lot of gamers are feeling. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to greedy corporations, that conversation is just, it happens. I'm not saying that Microsoft is or isn't, but they are a $4 trillion company for a reason. I want to get your thoughts and how taken aback you were by this price increase yesterday.
So I woke up maybe a few hours or so after it happened. So I woke up late to it. I guess people are maybe 3 hours ahead of me. So I woke up to unfortunate news. My surprise was, I guess, the increase. It's not just the increase, because this is like the third one we've had from them, I think, since 2023, right? Like, this has been like every time it's like, oh, another increase. I was surprised by the amount. Like, you would probably expect a few dollars, maybe $5, $10. It's a little tough right there. It's a whole 50% increase right there. It's tough. That's what took me by surprise the most. Also, too, I didn't care for, once I got to understand a bit more, I didn't like what I feel kind of is a snakish kind of way of them renaming things.
Yes.
Oh, well, standard is now premium. No, it doesn't look that premium to me. I think when you look at the details of premium, it looks far less premium, considering you won't get a chance to get those games up to a year later, first party.
Yeah, second tier, they don't specifically say if is it 3 months. It's within the year,
right?
And that's
so it could be 6
one of
months
the things
year,
that's a little snaky. When you talk about it, about the wording. Again, is it 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? Is it at 11 months and 30 days and 60 seconds? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they are purposely vague about how they put that with little asterisk. We don't know, and that's not good enough. I think. Um, yeah. So okay. Well, let me look at this now. So 200 plus games now playable on PC. So in all tiers, they're pushing the play anywhere thing, obviously, where you can play on console or handheld or whatever the case on all tiers. I think obviously Essential went up, which used to be Core, went up 50 now 50 plus games, right? And when it was 25 plus at a point, so that went up. Has also got online for that. But yeah, I look at Premium, man, and I feel like Premium is you're getting robbed a little bit with Premium. Even the naming suggests a bit more than what you get, in my opinion. I mean, then you get to Ultimate, which is fitting enough. Now, this is the part that's interesting. It says the 75 plus games a year,
Yes.
day and date. Now, clearly, we're not going to get 75 first party games. So I'm interested in what what third party games they're speaking of when they say this. And I'm hoping it's not like, oh, here's Pock Pock Rocket 3 or something like that on indie game. Like, no, I need you to give me something a bit more high end if you're going to be charging this for Ultimate. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm wondering too. For me, I'll just say I cannot reason out, especially since now I'm largely just gaming on the PC. I cannot reason out paying for Ultimate versus just going to Xbox Game Pass PC, right? PC Game Pass rather.
Which is 1650. It's a big
Exactly.
difference. Yeah.
And then I want to also point that out. Like, I don't think, like, clearly PC Game Pass, you're getting the longer arm of the stick, I suppose, instead of the short arm, right? But because this is only like a $5 increase. However, they didn't give you anything for it. That's the only thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Is you're getting a 40% increase with that, but you're not getting anything. You're not getting anything extra added to that service, or if you will, or anything else. So that kind of makes me feel a bit of a way. But other than that, I think that was the one that, like, okay, I can be content with that one. But everything else, man, I don't know. It's just it feels problematic for different reasons once you start to look at them in any depth, in any real way. And I've seen a lot of the responses online and things like that. And some people have been, they're being priced out. They're being priced out of Ultimate now, which is unfortunate. And these are diehards I've seen saying this stuff. So I don't know. I feel like this this moment right here, maybe one of those things where fans might have to push back hard enough to have them revert some things. That's what I'm starting to feel. I mean, we've done it before, but I feel like that may have to be the case here. Thing is, I don't know if they're going to listen, So that's my thinking right here.
I mean, so look, here's the thing. So I have the Xbox Wire article up, and so what you're talking about is Essential, Premium, and Ultimate. And before you got into the podcast, I was asking, I said, does Premium really, really feel like Premium? Right? Because it really doesn't. Essential is, well, you need this to play online if you're not playing free to play. And we know that there are people that do play online. I don't know for how much longer, to be honest with you. I think that this, and I said it in a tweet, and I kind of then reworded it, but I'll say it live on the air. This is one of those moments. This is one of those moves that seems that it could blow up in Xbox's face. And when you do things like this, what you need to do is have your forward-facing executives out on the front line here. And this is where I'm going to get a little bit pointed, ladies and gentlemen. So one of the things that was a little shocking to me personally was, listen, I understand that we don't need a business meeting with Phil, Matt, and Sarah sitting down with someone to talk to them. I don't think that was necessary. But where I'm going to have some pushback for that is the actual Xbox Game Pass commercial that they put out. I'll tell you exactly. It's 3 minutes and 45 seconds of cringe. That's what it is. And it's somebody that works for Microsoft. I don't know who she is. I've never seen her before. I don't think she's the right one to relay this message. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I just don't. The one thing that really stands Xbox executives apart from the folks at Sony and Nintendo is they are handshakers. They are out there at these, meeting and greeting the public. They're at all of these events. They're signing autographs. They're taking pictures. They're meeting with people like myself who has a very small channel, but somehow or another they recognize me. It's pretty incredible, right? When you get recognized by Phil Spencer or even Sarah Bond. She comes over and she goes, "Oh, I know you." You know how that makes me feel as a creator? Like on top of the world. Because we are a tiny channel, but that means that we are doing the work that's necessary to gain the interest and the eyes of the executives. That means we're doing it right. That's why I don't curse, and that's why I never, pile on the rabbit, because yes, I'm angry just like you folks. I'm a consumer just like you. But seeing this commercial, which I'm literally watching in front of me now, I just think that it's not that it's half cocked. It's well produced, but I don't think that this woman that's relaying this message should be the one. It should have been somebody like Sarah. And it didn't
Yeah.
have to be 3 minutes and 45 seconds long, Umbra. It could have been a minute. It could have been Phil out there making this message. And this is where it gets kind of worse though. This video was community noted by Twitter, man. Like that, yeah. I'm gonna read it. I swear I'm not making this up. It was community noted, and that's really, really bad.
That is
This
bad.
is the official Xbox Game Pass channel on Twitter, and it gets community noted. So it says here, readers added context they thought people might want to know. And it was an official thing from Twitter. It says PC Game Pass was not mentioned despite them saying every tier is getting upgraded. It will see a 40% increase with nothing new being added from $11.99 to $16.49 a month. Game Pass can also no longer be acquired with reward points as the unmentioned change. I mean, think about the PR on this, right? It's already, Umbra, a PR nightmare, right? It's just really super bad optics. I'm going to keep using that because that's what it is. There are people that are making six-figure salaries to make sure they can see around the corner before they run the company into a brick wall. And the people driving were apparently sleeping at the wheel because everyone at Xbox should have seen that this was going to be a monster-sized PR F-up. And again, we have to keep talking about it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to keep tweeting about it. Forget the trolls. Don't be swayed about speaking your mind to Xbox because we know that they're listening. This is not going to get fixed on its own. I don't know if it's even going to get fixed, Umbra, but I think that us continuing to talk about it lets them know that we are angry consumers, and angry consumers unsub and stop paying for a service. And that is why the website that was put up there for people to go cancel crashed and is still down.
Mm-hmm.
And any additional thoughts before we move on to the fun part of today's podcast?
A few things. That's
please,
absolutely. It is absolutely hilarious that girl was set up as the fall guy. I had never seen her, I don't think, until
I've never seen it before either. No.
Yeah. Shout out to her for trying to make polish a turd in a way.
Yeah.
But she was definitely set up for that because I wouldn't even want Sarah put in that situation, although that's what she's paid for, right? But that I think we've had there's been conversations we had where it's like, oh, Sarah has to be the one to come out and take give the bad news now. Now Phil is shrieking back into the distance, but that's it's going to be something that she's going to have to do if she takes over his position. But as we all know, Phil has been steadily more distant and quiet now since these types of things happen, which I think maybe is the right choice. I'm sure it's less stressful for him, to his credit. And but she was absolutely the fall guy. It is hilarious that she was, or at least the post. I don't want to say she, like she made it up, but it's hilarious that that Xbox video was community noted. That's pretty messed up. And it also shows you the displeasure people have had, that they like, let's correct this, right? And to see that the site like crashed the way it did, yeah, people are telling you, hey, I'm not liking this, right? They're saying this is not going to do it. And I don't think this is an overreaction. I saw a tweet from Jazz I thought was appropriate, and I've had conversations with people the other day. I've seen responses where sometimes people let their fandom, I think, get too far ahead of them, and they're like, and they're just like, oh well, hey, it is what it is, right? I've said this before. I'll say it again, and I'll always say it. I will never argue in the case of the corporation or the big company, whatever which way you want to look at it. I'm always going to look at these things from a perspective of a consumer. So I'm not going to be like, hey, it's business. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do that. But Jazz had a tweet that said, how I think we're running out of reasonably running out of it is what it is, something like that. And to that effect. And I'm like, yeah, you can't quit. You gotta quit. We have to quit using that to excuse these things now. At this point, after a point, it's like, okay, you can't keep. It is what it is. Like, that's not a real answer to anything. That's cope, right? And again, this is not to dogpile Microsoft or anything like that, or to doom say everything. We have options. You still have ways to get these games. You don't have to have Game Pass, right? You can move to premium, and it's not the worst ever. It's just possibly the worst of pricing that this service has had so far. To me, I think it's dipped away from, reasonably so. I think I can say now that it's less now. Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that now, not with the pricing.
Yeah.
We talked about this some time back, Boom. I'm not sure how long ago. And I think one of your questions was the threshold. What's the threshold where it's too much for us to continue, that it'll be a problem for Game Pass? And this was a while back. I cannot remember how long back it was when we had this conversation, but we had it on a Tuesday show one time. And I believe I said $20 was the threshold for me. I could possibly see $5 more, considering what they may add. Ubisoft Plus Classics isn't going to do it. I don't need any.
That's not it. And you're not a Fortnite player either. So
I'm not a Fortnite player either. That does nothing for me. I get the value. People are like, oh, it's $11.99. Doesn't do anything. I don't play Fortnite. Yeah. That doesn't. Sorry. The Fortnite what is it, crew, whatever,
it's Fortnite crew, it's something like that. Like I actually had to go look it up. Like that's what I know, it's an old man thing to do. I was like, what, Fortnite
no
crew?
I mean, you have to look up something. That's fine. Yeah, it's better to be informed. See what these young whippersnappers are out here doing. Boom. Yeah, but the Fortnite crew thing, that doesn't appeal to me. There's no, I'm never going to use it because I don't play that. Hell, I have nephews. They don't play that. They might be on like Roblox or something. My youngest nephew, which I'm just mystified by. He's like, he loves him some Roblox, man. But yeah, Ubisoft Plus Classics. Because I saw some people got confused. They were saying you get Ubisoft Plus and Classics.
See, that's what I was confused, because someone had sent it to me, and I was like, wait, hold on a sec. See, that would have been great for me, and here's why. I pay for Ubisoft Plus. That's $20 a month.
Right. So that would have been a W.
Yeah.
If it was Ubisoft Plus along with EA plus play, whatever.
W.
I would have been like, okay, I can see that, right? Yep. That would have made some sense. But Plus Classics, and it might evolve to that, but EA Plus Classics being just the older games. One, most of us have either played those games or we own them.
Yes.
Right. So that doesn't really do anything for us. If that was an appeal to people who hadn't played those, I can see the like, oh man, yeah, that's good. Most of us have either like like we said, we played them or we own them. So that doesn't really do anything for us. And you can get a lot of those games dirt cheap now. Like, what's the use of getting that for that? You can buy them like literally dirt cheap. So it loses that little extra oomph. I know they got the Riot Games thing, but that's also, I believe, in
Again,
premium.
nothing that means anything to me. I've never played any of their games. I don't play
Same.
MOBAs. Nothing.
Same. So now the biggest draw for me would have to be what are the 75 plus day one games. We know that's likely going to be, let's say, six to eight first party.
Yes.
So what are those other, 69 to 70, whatever, if you will, third party games? And are they going to be like high level? If they're high level, and I can only say this because we don't know. If I'm sure it's going to be a mixture of AA as well, which is fine. But if there are some high end AAA, and obviously you all would know what I mean when I say high end, I'm talking about
you're talking about AAA bombs,
big AAA, bangers, as people like to say. If it's that mixed in with it, okay, I can see the value, right? If there is a some high end, I don't know, let's say something from I don't anywhere, I don't know, any major AAA game. I don't know. I was gonna say EA.
It could have even been from Ubisoft. Like, say for instance, Black Flag is being apparently remade, and that drops into Xbox Game Pass. That's a banger, right?
Or CD Projekt Red or something like that, right? Yeah, like if something like that is landing, it's good. The service is going to appeal, right? Then I'll turn my tune around. Like, okay, no, they're getting some high end AAA games in here along with the first party games. Then I can be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but what
now
you
it starts to make a bit
10
more sense.
poo pie puzzlers.
Exactly.
I'm not made by.
You're not going to sell me on Snake Bite 3 exclusive on Steam and Indie. That's not going to do it. I'm going to need a little more pizzazz if you're going to. But my only thing is, and everybody's financial situation is different. The thing is, though, we are in a particular financial economic issue here in this world, right? It's
there
not
you
even
go, brother.
America, in this
Talk
world. So it's kind of tough to like. It's a moment thing, right? Like if we were doing better economically around the world and something like this happened, we could probably be like, okay, that's tough, but I can't reason that. Maybe I might be able to say, sell a few cans or something and get a little more chance. Now it's like you're gonna have to make a decision. Am I getting Game Pass Ultimate or am I eating food today? You know what I mean? Am I getting Game Pass Ultimate or am I getting gas for my car?
Yep.
Am I getting premium premium lead or premium Game Pass? What am I doing here? So like one of these things, you're gonna have to make some decisions here. That's what I mean. So that's the problem, right? It's the pricing, but it's also the economic situation we're all just in, and not everybody has it made like that. We just don't. Even myself, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a bit of a problem. Like I said, I might have to move the old PC Game Pass now and drop the Ultimate. My Ultimate expires next year in I think November or something like that. Maybe September or November of next year. And at that point, man, I think that'll be it for me for Ultimate for now. I'll have to just move down move down. It's appropriate to PC Game Pass. And honestly, you're winning out more on PC side. It feels almost like a betrayal to the console gamers, honestly. Although you're not getting anything extra for PC Game Pass, it's far more affordable, right? So it feels kind of like some type of psyop, like they're forcing people like, oh well, you're gonna have the handheld, right? So you like the PC Game Pass, or well, next gen is around the corner. It'll be PC-esque, right? So you can still use it for that. So I don't know. It feels a bit like they're trying to force our hand in that way. And I don't know. I kind of I also don't like the whole keep renaming of everything. Well, it was not. It was once core. Now it's essential. Like, get out of here. Stop renaming things every 2 seconds. I don't know. It's a lot of issues here, and the best way I can, I guess, cap this off is to say that, much like the website was crashing because people were canceling, people are going to have to vote for with their wallet.
Yep.
I know people always say that. It sounds like a cliche thing to say at this point, but you're going to have to vote with your wallet and tell them you're not pleased. I did see a few things as far as what this could be as far as money for them, added money if they continue like with a certain amount of people that paid for Ultimate and all these other things. It's like 1.4 billion or so more in revenue for them. Like they're clearly going to make a mint if that works.
Well, they made $5 billion last quarterly, right? That was confirmed by Sarah Bond. So and again, folks, I really want this to be clear. I'm not a mathematician by any stretch of the truth, but they invest $1 billion, right? They made $5 billion with a B last quarter, last fiscal. So that means that's a $4 billion profit. I mean, at what point is enough enough? Real quick before, and again, folks, sorry this is going a little bit long, but these are all great points, and I really want to continue and forward the conversation. I want to give a shout out to Spidey King on Twitter. It's Spider King in all caps with an X. This is a brilliant idea, and I think that this is a conversation. If they would have added what I'm about to read, that comes the way of Spidey King X on Twitter, this might be a different conversation. So Spidey King goes on to say this, Umbra, in chat. At $30 a month, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate should include the deluxe or ultimate editions of Xbox Game Studio titles. Bingo! That is just like Ubisoft Plus, which, by the way, is still $20. And what do you get from Ubisoft Plus? Well, you get everything. The gold editions that are normally $109 or $120 is included. Every release on Ubisoft Plus, you get the $100 plus edition and all the future DLC for your service fee of $20. This is a brilliant take. Brilliant. Any thoughts, Umbra?
Yeah. So his thought was, what was it again? How does it work?
His thought was very simply that for all of the Xbox Game Studios titles, most of those come with $30 upgrades. He's saying that with a $30 a month price tag for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, that should include the deluxe editions or the ultimate editions of all Xbox Game Studios titles. That's brilliant.
I agree with that. Actually, I think if you look at the Ubisoft Plus model for a very clear reasoning for that, right?
I literally just said that, brother.
Yeah. So there, to your point there, that if that being the case on how they handle it, Microsoft definitely needs to copy that. I think though, typically, don't we always get like the DLC and stuff like that anyway? That comes with when you get the Game Pass, you get like some of those DLC in first party.
Usually they're 27 and change after the 10%, but those $30, like for instance, a perfect example is the Vault Edition. The Vault Edition for Black Ops 7 coming out was 27 and change. I bought it already. So I'm literally getting the Vault Edition that's normally $100, but I'm paid the $30 for the additional upgrade. Same thing for the Outer Worlds 2 has an upgrade package. So some upgrade packages are a little bit less, and some are usually $30 and 27 and change after the 10%.
Okay,
you get from discount, but you don't get any of those for free. No.
That tells you how spoiled I used to be with Game Pass, that I used to think, oh, everything was coming to me extra for free. Like I was paying for some of these things and didn't realize it, I guess, after all this time. And I see the responses in the chat like, no. DLC costs money.
Yeah, it costs seconds. Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the thing. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. If you're paying for what they're charging now, you should be getting the highest end product, meaning that the DLC and all that comes with it and all that. I agree. But then again, that's gonna, they're not gonna do that because that's that's the loss for them, right? They're not going to do that. So that's the
It's
thing.
literally free revenue is what they're
Yeah.
getting. They're making hand over fist on these
Mhm.
$30 upgrades that most people will and see that's it. It's not trickery, folks. It's not, because I say this all the time. If you are a Game Pass subscriber and you are playing a game that you really like and you're enjoying it and it's a part of your service, if there is DLC, if there is an upgrade to an ultimate edition, if there's something like cosmetics that you like, you honestly in your consumer mind say, you know what, I didn't pay for the game, I got the game for quote unquote free. And we know that you didn't, because you're paying for your service monthly. But in your consumer mind, and I'm right there with you folks, because you didn't take money out of your pocket to go pay for this game, which would be $76.43 at any of your mom and grop shops, you are like, well, I didn't spend the $70. I did spend 20, and that's okay because I got this game, but I also got 10 other games that I'm playing right now. I'll drop the $27 and upgrade, because I'll
Mhm.
get the music soundtrack and
Yeah.
I'll get all additional weapons. And you'll even, in most cases, get the expansions that haven't even been announced yet. So of course you're going to do it. So again, it's not being spoiled or anything. It's, as a consumer, you're not taking the money out of your pocket, but now it's a little bit different. Now it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little different. Now we're forced to see the reality of it, I guess. And like I said, I guess for me it felt, I guess, a spoiling because it was happening such a vacuum with everything I'm buying. Because bought a ton of Steam games, right? I bought a ton of Xbox games over time. I got probably a good close to 700, I think,
Wow.
titles on Xbox itself. Steam is like I'm approaching, 300, and this is
Yeah, I mean,
within a year and a
the
half
autumn
of time.
sales on right now, and they're
Mhm.
literally giving mounds of games away for the price of pennies.
Exactly, which I would love for Xbox to, and PlayStation to kind of, you know, copy. By the way, because you don't get the
Yeah.
same pricing, but yeah, it felt like, I guess, because I was always getting all this good stuff as part of Game Pass. I know some people have a problem when you're saying it's free. It's not free. You're paying. Okay, whatever. It feels free. It felt free,
It ultimately feels free. Yeah,
right?
right.
But now, yeah, that you're gonna feel it now if that's the case. If they're charging what they're charging, and then you have to also go and buy that aside from that. Yeah, it's going to sting a bit. I would agree 100% with that person you named. That should
The
be a part of
Spidey
the
King.
ultimate.
Yeah, about the deluxe editions. It should. If this is if this is the, you know, the penthouse, package, you should give me everything. Don't cheap out. But look, ladies
Yeah,
and gentlemen,
yeah.
this has been a great conversation. Again, I'm going to try. I'm backed up with making videos. I got at least 4 that I have to do today, and I'm probably going to be up to the wee hours of the midnight time, because I got to catch up. And again, it's a lot of work. So I got to create the thumbnails that are interesting, that are going to get your, like, oh, look at this. I'm going to, because it's a giant game that I'm playing with YouTube to get into the, fast track of algorithms. Usually I lose the game. Occasionally I win, but I'm going to get to them, folks. So don't worry. So if you don't want to sit through all of these long podcasts, don't worry. I have a few that I'm going to be doing to kind of shorten it up and make it, more listenable, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at max. But look, we do have a big topic to get into. This one is exciting. This one's a fun one, ladies and gentlemen, and it has to do with gaming, which is what we're all here for. But before I can get there, I got to catch up on the super chats. And there's, again, a lot of them. So a big thank you to the generosity of this incredible community. Again, Mrs. Boom and I do truly appreciate the support. Dan Lazaro in the chat, who's been a channel member for 3 months. So Dan, welcome back, brother. Nice to see you here. And of course, thank you for the support. He says, welcome to the country ran by billionaires. And unfortunately, that really is at the center of pretty much anything you're going to talk about moving forward when it comes to the monies. It's just we just the little guys. I mean, that's just what it is. It's very unfortunate. But J Mac in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. J Mac, friend of the channel, goes on to say this: I wonder if people canceled grocery shopping when their price of eggs went up. Still the best value in gaming. I mean, listen, brother, I hear what you're saying, but I am going to say that I'll put it this way to add, folks, I didn't do this, but I have seen many stories where because of the price of increased of eggs, people started getting their own chickens. And I know that you're probably laughing your balls off right now. When I saw the stories, I laughed out loud. I'm like, wow, it's really that serious. But for some families, man, it is. Listen, don't try to understand someone's financial, hardships, because you may feel, and this is not obviously to JMac, this is just a general consensus. If $10 for you, gamer, is not that big of a deal, that's freaking awesome. But for somebody, it might be. It just might be the tipping point of, well, do I cancel this or do I cancel something like Netflix? Because again,
Mhm.
ultimately, what's going to wind up happening with all of these services going up and up and up and up, people are going to start shrinking what they watch, where they watch, when they watch. And these companies are either going to have to readjust their thinking on raising the prices every 4 months, every 6 months, every year, or they're going to just lose millions of subscribers. And I think that again, maybe we haven't heard from Phil, Sarah, and the team, and maybe they haven't reversed engines yet because they haven't seen the damage that they did yesterday. Because ultimately, the PR damage that they created, it might be irreparable. It may be substantial. You might see 3 million people unsubscribe. That's a lot of humans. Again, I'm not talking about the internet trolls that are just jumping on the bandwagon to get views, likes, and subs. I'm actually saying that there are going to be potentially millions of people that be like, "Yep, $30 is not. I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm not giving." Because again, you're willing to drop down to the $15 tier. You have a lot of games, so you may not have FOMO. You may not need Outer Worlds 2 day and date. But there's going to be some people that actually want that game and were promised that game.
Mhm.
And now that promise has now been kind of besmudged a little
They've
bit.
been compromised. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, too, we got to get out of the habit again. I said it earlier. I don't argue in the perspective of the corporation. Only us as the consumer.
Yes.
We have to get out of that habit. You may have the money to do that. Not all of us do. Right? I can probably pay for Game Pass Ultimate and be okay. Right? I don't want to though.
Right.
And somebody said it best in the chat. Sometimes it's about the principle. It is about that.
It is
Sometimes.
about the principle. Yeah, indeed. I
Sometimes you got to
absolutely
see. You got
agree.
to you got to put your foot down and say, no, this is too much. This is unfair. This is not equitable for me. This is not going to work. And yeah, there are some people who are struggling to try to eat and also enjoy their hobbies. Right? We shouldn't mock that. We shouldn't belittle that. uh you know we have to be
Yeah.
careful when it comes to that, because now you start to sound like a snob.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I can pay for Game Pass Ultimate and get my eggs and scrambled. Like, yeah, okay, good for you, Jeeves, whatever you. But not all of us are in that situation, right? We got to be cognizant of that. We can't.
Yeah.
Let's not
You
do
got
that.
you got to think, look, maybe I'm asking too much of people. I'm always looking next to me, and I worry about the people beside me. Maybe others don't, and if you don't, and it doesn't matter to you, I'm not going to fight with you, folks. But I'm built a little bit different. So my pops was. That's why everyone that worked for my dad loved that man, because he always put the people first, and that's what I do here at this channel. I put you guys and gals first, even when I'm feeling like absolute dog crap. I know that the people need this show. Now, do they actually need it? It's their lifeblood? No, but people look forward to this. Usually, I'm very positive. I don't use hate mongering to garner your subs and likes and views. We have fun here. I prepare for these shows days in advance to make sure that I do get it right. And when you have something you enjoy watching, it's my responsibility to be there Monday through Friday because you expect me to be there. And that's the same principle when I think about other gamers that might not actually have the money for Game Pass. It bothers me. Now maybe it shouldn't, but it does. And that's just how I'm built.
No,
J Mac,
that's a good thing to be. You
Yes, I
empathetic.
agree. It's how my pops was, and exactly how he raised me, and it's just how I am now, and it's how I'm raising. Like whenever I'm with my nephew,
Yeah,
he's getting
you're
the
teaching them right.
values.
You need more empathy in this world. I think we have too less of it nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. 1000%.
Yeah, that's just the thing. I think yeah, I think the fan kind of fanboy. I don't want to diminish anybody, but I think the response is typically to kind of be like downplay it, like, hey, it is what it is, not that big a deal. Hey, well, I mean, you getting all this with that? Hey, it's not that. I mean, hell, you got a subscription Netflix, don't you? You know,
Yeah.
like we got to get out of that. Honestly, you know what I mean. Even if you're just looking at it, a rationale of getting a better end deal for yourself as a consumer, that should be your go-to versus rewarding them with extra money for not enough of an extra benefit, especially when it comes to your fellow gamer, right? Don't do it in the sense of trying to diminish them to prop up the business. To me, I think is distasteful,
Yeah.
honestly.
No, 100%. Jay Slay in the chat. What's up, brother? Thanks so much for being here, Jay, and appreciate the very generous $5 super chat. He says xCloud moving its server blades is the driving factor for the hike. Paid queue times are how they all work, including GeForce. It's not disrespect. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, brother. I mean, again, it's maybe it wasn't meant to be disrespectful. The writing is just not good. When you read in between the lines where it clearly says that, you know, wait times are extended here for this tier, times are better, but you're not at the velvet rope just yet, you're still around the corner, and then the top tier you're getting velvet rope treatment. It just, the bigger picture looks gross. You know, the messaging from that woman that was in that 3 minute and 45-second video, it's just not good. The messaging on how the tiers are broken down isn't good. Who delivered the message isn't good and wasn't in my opinion, this is I believe to be a seismic shift in what could ultimately cost Xbox millions of customers. And I don't think the right people were standing forward, that they're getting these big paychecks. They're the ones that have to deliver this message. It can't be somebody that we don't know, and it can't be half cocked. And that's what this Xbox Wire article was, because it didn't even have an author, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there was. I actually, you know what? Let me just make
They
sure,
were
because I
like
literally,
signed anonymous.
it pretty much was that. Hold on a sec. Where is
They're
it?
like, I'm not giving these people a chance to come after me. But you know, I would also throw out there too. Where does this end, right? And this is why it's important for us to push back now.
Yeah.
If they've moved it up to in 3 years, or not even 3 years, excuse me, since 2023, they've increased the price 3 times.
Yes.
What's the next year going to look like? What's the year after that?
I literally said that yesterday, Umbra. I said that, you know, if you forecast 2026, we talked about this last night on Primetime Gaming, and just how many games off the clip that we know, right? I can name 6. You got Halo, Forza, Gears, the Trinity. You also have Fable. You also got Modern Warfare 4, and you also probably have Clockwork Revolution. And I don't think it's a stretch. So that's 6 games. With those 6 games minus the 75 plus, that is still 68, 69 games that they have to deliver into that service because they promised it, right? And that's ultimately a problem, because I said this, and again, I'm not trying to doom and gloom, folks. I'm literally just asking a general consensus question to the community. They raised the price on October 1st by $10, which equates to 50%. Okay, who's it to say that next October 1st, right before the release of Forza Horizon 6 in Japan and Modern Warfare 4 in November, that they don't raise it another $10? Now it's $40. Like, is that going to be a problem? You bet your ass that's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's
you got to look to the future for these things, and it's like, if they've done this now 3 times,
3 times.
and
Yes.
this third one was a killer, like what's the next one? Or what's
Well,
that going to look like? You know, and
we're gonna.
it's already at 30. What more can you all tolerate? I've already reached it, and it's not like I can't afford it. Let
You
me be
just don't
clear.
want to pay that, and you
I'm not.
shouldn't be asked.
Yeah, I
to pay
don't want
that.
to, and I'm not
Sorry.
going to. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And it's like, but I have options because I have PC, so I can say,
Yeah.
hey, I'll just go to PC gaming. I got that luxury, but not everybody got that luxury, man. And I know some people will go back. Well, gaming is not is an expensive hobby, is right. I've seen that's the snobbish response. I've seen a lot of our Hoove brothers say that.
They're all false a-holes anyway.
I remember this girl literally. She wrote that. She was like, gaming is expensive, something like that. She was like, it's not for the brokies. That's what she said. And I was like, oh wow, how detestable.
Great to live in the palace. Sure.
Yeah, how detestable to say something like that.
Yeah,
right? So carefree. How lucky and fortunate are you that you get to do this, and the brokies have to suffer, as you put it.
Yeah,
and not play. It's a very classist.
This is probably the same woman that would call it welfare pass as well.
She likely did. I wouldn't doubt it. Being the hooligan she was, but yeah, I just find it detestable to be like, let me dismiss you, you brokey. Yes. I have Game Pass Ultimate. What do you have? Essential.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, the people are going to be people, and that's when you block them, put them on the pay no mind list. But let me just finish these super chats, and then we're going to get into the big topic of the show. Well, at least one of the big topics, and that is the potential of Prototype getting the treatment of, well, a remake. And listen, if Oblivion is any indication on how well an older game can be brought forward to modern times, I mean, listen, that's what the rumor is. It is literally that the remake of Prototype could equate the same TLC that came the way of Oblivion. Yes, effing please. But Gray Fox in the chat. Gray Fox 020 drops a £6 super chat. He says this month Sony will also raise their prices and import 3 PS5 games to Xbox. Oh, port X3. I mean, it's possible. I think that announcement is coming soon. He says everything will be forgotten. Greetings from Amsterdam, Boom and chat, brother. Great to have you here, man. Thank you for the generosity. And I think that those ports, based on the success of Helldivers 2, has been fast tracked. Now I can't confirm that or anything, but that's just my opinion. I agree with you. Joe Dunmore, this is a great point. It drops a very generous $2 super chat. Joe, great to see you here, brother, and thank you for the generosity. As always, he says we're being punished for gaming on consoles. I mean, you certainly could equate that for sure. I mean, that's what it sounds like, because the PC brethren, like Umber just said, he could go to PC 1650.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, and I didn't even know this until you said it, Umbra, is that the 1650 from 1199, you don't get anything for that.
That's what I was saying. For the 1650, you're not getting anything extra. You're staying whatever was that. When was it? 11, whatever.
Yeah. Not good. We also have a JD Gamer drops a very generous $5 super chat. JD goes on to say, I have thoughts. No one is talking about the increase in day one games going from 40 to 75. That's 85% in day one releases. Do we expect to pay less? The one thing I will say about that is that something that Hargeet Chani mentioned yesterday, they just threw a number out there, but we don't know what those games are. And very similar to what Umbra said on his way in here, talking about Poi Poi, 17, that was made by 3 people in someone's basement. And not that it's not a good game, it could be a game of the year contender. Are we getting 60 of those? Because the increase in price versus are we getting AAA? We don't know, because they didn't tell us. So that
exactly.
just keep that in mind.
It could be what I said, Snakebite 3, and you will be like, okay, that didn't do it for me right there.
Okay, they released 20 additional puzzlers that no one's playing.
Wonderful. Right.
Thank you for
Here's
that.
Pock Adventure 8
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that we've never heard of. So that's the problem. What are we getting?
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
they're mapping that out now. But if they are high quality AAA games, I'll shut up.
I'll put it this way: when that happens, if that happens next year, this is the conversation that we can come back to, and I'll remember, and so will Umbra. Oh, you remember when it was 40, and they said it was 75,
Mhm.
and we said Snakebite, 33 coming out, right? Like, did we get 15 of those, 20 of those? No, we actually wound up getting like real. We got games like 33 Immortals and Silk Song. And you're like, whoa, you got games like that. Okay, you know what? Maybe I was a little bit extreme with this, the 30 not being worth it, but they did up the ante with the game quality. We'll come back and at
Yeah,
some point.
we'll revisit, as they say, right? If it is a high end AAA, hey, I'll come around to saying, well, at the service, it warrants it providing what they're providing with the 75 games. I would then say that, but as it stands, I highly doubt they're going to be doing that. I highly doubt that.
I doubt it as well.
I think you're going to get some nice double A's, maybe a triple A here and there that's pretty cheap. Maybe one or two. I don't know. Maybe three. I don't know. I don't think you're going to be getting, let's just put it like this. You're not going to be getting 50 or so. I don't think you'll even get 20 AAA high-end AAA games, but maybe they might surprise me. We'll see. But to the point, to the chat, the super chat that a moment ago that was talking about that the console gamers are being shafted a bit. As I said earlier, I agree with that. I think if you're looking at this and you were formerly or are currently a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, and then you look at the other tiers and you look at PC Game Pass, which they all but hid when they showed all the new pricing, they hid that. If you go to the site, you have to go like scroll down and PC pricing. Like, why is that hidden right there?
Yeah.
And like, why are not all four listed right here? Why is it
bit of a fugazi, if you want my honest opinion about it?
It is, and you're not getting anything extra with the PC game, but you are getting a super affordable tier compared to what they're giving, and you're getting everything else that Ultimate would get just about, right? I think you're probably missing, like, what is it? I think actually, what are you missing if you get PC Game Pass? I need to look into that because I don't think you're missing out on anything. I know you got to get to the other super chat, so I'm going to shut up. But
this is a conversational podcast, bro. That's what we do. I mean, listen, we're gonna get into it again. I have some notes I want to get into prototype, but we'll get there in a moment. Roshan, we have another one from Dan Lazaro. Drops a very generous $5 super chat. He says, as long as our country is ran by the rich, they will always take advantage of the regular people. They'll raise prices on everything because we take it.
So
yeah,
true.
Unfortunately, a lot of us you vote with you literally vote on who you want in, and sometimes even people that you voted for do what politicians do. They lie. I mean, they do it. They say whatever they need to say to get in there, but we don't do the politics thing here. But I mean, again, it's a right on the button comment, Dan. Thanks so much.
To that comment, classism. It's the same argument I was mentioning a second ago.
Thing.
About how we shouldn't take the classism stance of dismissing other people who based on their economics and such, right? And that's what that is. And he's right. Capitalism, I think, has gone to it's at its extreme.
Yeah,
when you have one person about to be a trillionaire, something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Where you got people literally starving. Yeah, we've gone out of whack. Like there's such a thing as too much of something, right? And I think we've gone out of whack with capitalism in that sense, and that's why we are facing things like we're facing now from pricing all over the place. And so he's right in every sense that as long as the rich like that are in control and we are not pushing back, there's no actual unity and united front in confronting that, we're going to continue to be in this type of trouble, right? It's going to have to be some type of collapse at some point.
Yeah. It's going to implode. It really is. But Roshan Impenger says Microsoft sold all their Fs to pay for Copilot. They don't have any more to give. I mean, you might be onto something there, Roshan. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate the generosity. That comes away with a very generous $5 super chat. So thank you, Roshan. JD Gamer drops an additional $2 super chat. Thanks for that, JD. He says, Phil, Sarah, and Matt are done talking to us like PlayStation. Yeah, it does kind of seem like that. But if you just look at, like, for instance, the Iron Lords were in Japan. And I mean, everybody knows the Iron Lords for sure. And King David is such a big personality, but they were taking pictures and signing autographs and signing controllers. I don't really think that they're fully done. I think what happened when they went, third party, and there were some community members that really, said some egregious things on the socials that got them to kind of withdraw and pull back a little bit. Unfortunately, that damage is never going to be undone. That is what it is. But Ray Chi in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat. It says, Xbox stop apologizing after Redfall. R.I.P. Phil. I mean, Redfall was a yeah, that was kind of messed up. But I mean, like I said, I make no apologies for enjoying it. I put over 80 hours into that game, and I'm not sorry that I did. I rolled 3 characters in that. I had a blast, but it was undercooked and it was under-delivered for sure. Freddie Fox drops a very generous $2 super chat. Freddie, great to see you here, brother. He says, Game Pass is worth the $30. I play a lot in Game Pass. Look, here's the thing. No one should attack anyone because they think that it's valuable. Because here's the thing. If you are someone that can't afford $76.43 for your games are expensive, folks. It's the reality. And you are someone that uses Game Pass for all of your play. You're an Xbox player, right? You're invested into the ecosystem. You didn't want it to go up to $30. I don't think anyone's saying that oh yeah, sure, charge me more. I don't think I see that even once. But there are people gamers that use the service exclusively. And if they do use the service exclusively, they do find inherent value because, yes, it did go up $10. And yes, nobody wanted that. But for said gamer, they don't buy a lot of games. Maybe they buy 1 or 2 games a year. Whether that be NBA 2K, a Madden, a wrestling, GTA when it comes out. Maybe they only buy the 2 games a year, but the rest of the time they are playing from Game Pass. Folks, we can't get angry because they think it's valuable, because to them it is. I mean, again, I have not seen not even one, and I've seen 1,000 comments on this. Oh man, yeah, charge me more, Xbox. Thank you. Can I have another? Not even once. So there are going to be people that do in fact find it valuable, and that's okay. Like Korkenstein yesterday, he got attacked by the chat, which I was close to banning a couple of people because you can't talk to my panel members like that.
They got it on Cork.
Yeah, they kind of. I mean, and Cork loves a community. He's a community guy. That guy does 10 times the amount of community work that I do. And they kind of came from yesterday because he was like, "Well, I find that it is valuable." Okay, you don't agree, folks. I hear you. But there's a reason why he does that. And perfect example for Freddie Fox. He feels it's valuable. And there are reasons. It's okay to have differences of opinion. Freddie Fox drops an additional, very generous $2 super chat and says, Game Pass, so 3 Game Pass games this month cost $225 if you buy them outright. I mean, again, that's the value he's talking about. I talked about that. There are 3 games from Xbox Game Studios. And, well, there you go, folks. Fantas Archer in the chat. Great to see you here, Fantas. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Fantas Archer says the value of the services are debatable. It's the way that they force the price changes without warning. Yes, the broadsideness of it is not good. Even with any walkback, it has damaged trust. Yes, trust is valuable, folks. And unfortunately for Xbox, their messaging has once again been a giant turd. It's just, I don't know what else to say, man. I don't want to spend 15 minutes talking about how their messaging is just egregious. And there are people making 6 figures, folks. I'm not even shitting you. Like, there are people sitting behind their desk right now, listening to the show, drinking their lattes, making 6 figures, and they can't figure it the F out. Like,
they can pay for this Game Pass Ultimate. Oh,
yeah.
silly,
peasants.
silly paupers. Like, come on, y'all.
I hope that's not what's actually happening, but
I'm sad because I'm seeing people kind of respond like that in the chat. It's like, y'all missing the plot. Don't go that direction with it.
Don't be the pompous ass, please.
Yeah.
Please
never
don't
go
do
full
that.
pompous.
Yeah, no, yes, exactly. We also have here Ultron Quake, who's been a channel member for 25 months. So Ultron Quake, thank you so much for the incredible support. He says, "Boom, I just started a new job, and your show is helping me get through it." See, that's what I'm talking. This is why I do it, man. It's those kind of messages that will have me up to 1:30 in the morning instead of playing games, which I want to get into that Call of Duty beta. It's ready to go. I have Aliens Rogue Incursion, freaking amazing. And instead of that, I'll be making videos. I'll be preparing for tomorrow's show to make sure that I'm on point, because there are people that depend on the show for their, and that's when I say well-being, it's not like it's going to save anyone's life. It's just not. But it's people enjoy the content, and I'm always grateful that there are people that message me, saying, "Hey, Boom, you know what? This is you were there for me when I was having a tough time." That means a lot to me. Diego Herta in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat. Oh, wow. It says premium does not include Call of Duty, so that sucks. I did not know that. That is pretty interesting stuff right there. That adds more salt to the wound, and it's not good. Smokey, who's been a channel member, wow, for 54 months, brother. That is very kind of you. Thank you so much. He says, "I'm late to all of the Game Pass rage, but I think that that if they had this family pass, I mentioned that yesterday, built into the top tier, it would have softened the blow." I absolutely agree with that, brother. I think you are onto something there, Smokey. We also have MF the Great.
Smokey's on, yeah, for sure. If it was a family plan,
yeah, it would have.
Yeah,
that'd have been big. Yeah, $30 would have been something, and you'd have been like, and I don't need 5 people. You give me the ability to add 2 more. You're 3, a total of 3. Yourself and 2 others. That's a winner chicken dinner. There's
I'm gonna start linking up with y'all in the chat. Hey, since y'all got all this, y'all keep talking all this big money talk. I'm gonna start leaning on y'all. Like, hey, let's do this family plan now. Y'all talked all that stuff. Carry me through. Carry on, my wayward son.
There you go. There you go. MF the Great has been a channel member for 8 months, brother. Thanks so much for the generosity. He says, "Thank goodness the FCC put in stipulations to hold them accountable for reasonable Game Pass pricing." Oh, wait. Yeah, that's our country for you. The FCC, what they could have done if Lena Khan was, look, I'm not going to be insulting. She's a very smart woman. She's educated. I just think she wasn't a great leader. She had an opportunity to sit down and get like Game Pass locked up for 3 years at the price it was, with no increase, and she failed, and that's why she's no longer running the show. She had an opportunity, but instead of trying to work to get a deal done for the American consumers, she put her heels into the sand and said, "No, I'm going to win because because it's me. I want to win." And that's why they didn't get anything. They literally didn't get anything, and they could have. Great point of view, MF the Great. Look at me, the broke boy drops a very generous $2 super chat. Says, "Who's playing Black Ops 7 early access beta today?" I want to say I'm gonna give it the old college effort. Today is busy. It's just I'm overloaded with work, and I'm not talking about like actual real work. I'm talking about like video work. I have like 3 thumbnails I'm building. I have 3. I just MP3 a couple of the shows. I got to cut down everything. I'm gonna try. Well, if you see me on, just jump on, brother. Freddie Fox.
You know what? I know something I wish another thing I wish, but yeah. Well, I guess I could say I wish. I wish I loved Call of Duty like some of y'all do. Like,
brother, I didn't for a long time, and now I'm addicted like crack cocaine. It's not good.
And that's the thing for me though. Is like when I look at everything as far as the price increases, I know Call of Duty is an extremely valuable thing to have in a service. It doesn't appeal to me, right?
Yeah,
like
again,
I'm happy it's there. I will maybe play the campaign eventually, whatever. But stuff like that, Fortnite, none of that matters to me. The Riot thing, all of that is like, League of Legends,
whatever. Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, listen, I'm excited. They already got my Volt Edition money, and I'm glad to be happy to pay it. Freddie
Yeah.
Fox drops an additional, very generous $2 super chat. He goes on to say, "Cut Duncan back a day, a week. That's $20 a month." I normally don't do Dunkin' Donuts. Occasionally I do when I'm out. Like if I skip breakfast, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get a breakfast sandwich. But I go for the $6 joint. It comes with a sandwich, a coffee, and some hash browns at $6. That's affordable. Anything more than that, you're getting clobbered. You're getting clobbered. But
Listen,
lastly,
I buy coffee from I'm the more snobbish when I buy it from Starbucks, and coffee from them that I get is $6. So it's expensive. Yeah, they're not wrong.
Yeah. I used to do Starbucks until I was getting charged $13 for a chocolate croissant and a cappuccino. Yeah, I ain't about that life.
They're expensive.
I'll just drink from right here. I got a coffee pot. I got a Keurig that's really nice that Mrs. Boom bought me, and I have Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I'm good.
Dunkin' Donuts coffee is actually pretty good, by the way. I would vouch for them. Yeah.
And lastly, we have Wooger Man. What's going on, brother? Got a chance to meet him in person. Gentleman of a man. Drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Here's $10 so you can keep Ultimate another month." LOL. In all seriousness, Microsoft has data with how many subscribers will leave. It's built into the hike. This is all business. Optics bad, but money is good. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that if they would have reversed engines, we would have heard about it, but I don't know if that's going to be something that's immediate because they do have to see the ramifications of this. But Umbra, we got to get into the rumor now. Look,
you had one more if you want to.
Oh, I do. I have one more. Let me just get into that. Hold on a sec here. Oh, we do have Torino Johnson. Hey, Torino, what's going on, brother? He's been a channel member, ladies and gentlemen, for 24 months. Thank you so much for the support. He says, Umbra, I was like that with Call of Duty, but I didn't care about Halo until a month ago. I burned through all of them, and now I want more. And again, you're going to get it. Pause, because on the 24th, you're going to get 2 reveals, from what I understand. And I only say
your
2.
Pauses, Boom. I got to congratulate you.
You know what? I listen to the Iron Lords a lot. So there's a lot of pausing going on over there. So
yeah,
I've gotten good with that. Thank you, bro. Better. Yeah, so again, I only say 2 because I have any inside information, but they literally, like Halo Studios literally said, their reveals with an S, which means it's going to be multiple. Is it going to be 3? Maybe. I think you're going to get 2, but we will certainly see. But Umbra, I have a story in front of me from GameRant.com, and this one is it was written by Bruna Tells. And she says Prototype could be making a big comeback. Now, this is a rumor, folks. And she goes on to say in the article, a new rumor claims that a remaster of Prototype is in development. The first Prototype game was released in 2009 with Radical Entertainment presenting the players with an open-world adventure featuring unique elements. And again, it's really an anti-hero kind of a story. But you know what's interesting, Umbra? So I sent this over to you, and it's just for additional context. So last April, more specifically, ladies and gentlemen, April 14th, there was a Reddit post, and the user that posted this claims a new Prototype game is reportedly in development. And according to a user on Reddit, which I'm going to read verbatim, by the name of Bigby, they were given details about a new game in the series as part of a recent study group session. Now, let me just stop right there for a second, because what we're talking about here does not equate to what we're talking about for the rumored Remake remaster. There are 2 different games. The remaster that is currently being made, and it's being made by the team that did Killer Instinct on the 2nd and 3rd seasons. Oh my God, Iron Galaxy is rumored to be doing the remake of Prototype 1. What we're talking about here is what is being rumored to be called Prototype Revolutions. Okay, that is a new game in the franchise, and it makes sense when you put these context pieces together. We're playing detective right now, folks, so walk with me on this. Again, the rumor that is running around regarding the original prototype is that we are getting a remake that's on the level of Oblivion. And that has me super stoked because Oblivion is a masterclass release. It's sold so far this year more than the original did across all platforms that it's on. That's bonkers. And everyone that has played it is like, wow, this really should not have been called a remaster. It should have been called a remake. Well, the user claimed that the game will see Alex Mercer, who was the original protagonist, return back into this new Revolutions prototype, and that the game will reportedly feature shapeshifting and transforming into other people in order to infiltrate areas. Lastly, it's going to be once again based in New York City. Now, this is Insider Gaming. Okay, so insidergaming.com, you know who they are. According to this this posting, Insider Gaming reached out to Bigsby regarding these claims and was told the following, folks. And I'm going to find the story from Insider Gaming because I'm all about giving credit where credit is due, and I will add it to the show notes. So bear with me as I find that once the show is done. And it goes on to say, according to the story, once again from insidergaming.com, it was a YouGov survey which asked me to sign an NDA and confirmed that I would not disclose the contents. Well, he broke the NDA, ladies and gentlemen, according to Bigsby. Okay, so it goes on to say it then confirmed a series of features that upcoming games will include and how popular this was with me, percentage wise. It was not a play test, but it was specifically asking about the features that were already planned as part of these upcoming games, and Prototype Revolution was one of them, ladies and gentlemen. Lastly, Insider Gaming has yet to fully verify the validity of these claims, but felt it was a rumor worth covering. As always, until it's verified by Insider Gaming with more details or officially announced by Activision, take all of the information, Umbra and chat, with a grain of salt. Now, this is exciting because the Prototype Revolution that is rumored to be the follow-up, I would imagine, is in development as we speak. And that I don't expect that next year. I mean, it could be next year. I don't know how long it's been in development. I don't think anyone does at this point. But what's interesting is we've been hearing for a while now, chat and Umbra, that there was going to be a surprise drop later this year from into Xbox Game Pass. The question that we have to ask, and I can't wait to get your answer, Umbra, is could the Prototype remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it, be that extra game that we didn't know was releasing this year and surprises Xbox Game Pass subscribers potentially even as late as December? What are your thoughts, man?
I will be highly surprised if it was dropping that soon. I think if it was the case that we would be getting it this year, we would see the old saying of like on your gameplay here, where there's smoke, there's fire, and literally you just fired on this guy. If it was coming out this year, we see much more smoke, right? It will be less vague data mining and such like that with these guys here on Reddit. It'd be more some of the insiders, if you will, and not broke boy, well, not Will the broke boy, but some of the insiders here saying, hey, we heard this, right? And hey, it might be dropping. Like, we'll be hearing more of that if it was this year, I think, at this point. So I would think if it is happening, it'll be next year, just to say.
I mean, it could legitimately show up at the direct, that could be happening,
Yeah.
and rumored to be happening in January. I mean, that's a
could
good
be.
point.
Absolutely. So most of the things, I think also too, you kind of look at Iron Galaxy, like you mentioned, they worked on the Tony Hawk games, if right, the the Spyro Reignited. They also did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2
Yep.
remakes. So
And both of them are excellent.
yeah. So Will Broke Boy said, "What rumor did I say?" Yeah, but yeah, I feel like if this was the case, we would heard more from it from more insiders. We'd heard the ecstasies. How do you say his name? Ecstasies and
Ecstasies, yeah, that's how it's
ecstasies.
pronounced. Yeah,
We've heard the Knicks, the special Knicks. We've heard them
yeah,
kind of
yeah. It's true.
chirping the thing.
That's great points of view. I think you're onto something with that.
So yeah, I would think that it would be next year, if anything. I feel like it is cool though. I will say that if it is the case they're working on it, we're getting more of the ABK library finally getting pulled out of retirement. So that's a good thing. I think that the prototype IP is, I think we all agree it could be something special if they take it and actually put some money behind it and actually develop it into something. It could be something big for Microsoft. I don't know how big, but it could be some. It could be I think a valuable IP, right? I don't know if it's necessarily maybe necessarily AAA that they would need to make it, but it could definitely be something. I would say, but yeah, based on what they've looked at and looked into and found these the data miners found with that information, I would say yeah, it gives some validity to that. When Iron Galaxy, you see them pulling up in the staff the credits, right? So yeah, it's
Yes.
there is some smoke there. I just don't think it's enough smoke to say it'll be this year necessarily. And I'll be honest, I mean, that said, I don't think we need it this year, and I'm not trying to sound funny.
No, you're not wrong, dude. I don't have enough time to play what we got. There's
Exactly.
3 games coming out in a couple of weeks.
We still got Outer Worlds 2 dropping, right? We still got
Ninja Gaiden 4,
Ninja Gaiden 4,
the
Keeper,
Double Fines game.
Yeah, so it's Keeper, right?
Yes, Keeper.
So
Yep.
So we got a lot already that's on the plate, right? And that's not even including all the other games I still have to get through. But yeah, so I don't think Xbox needs it this year. And to me, when I feel like you don't need it, that means that Iron Galaxy, if they're the ones working on it, which they likely are, give them more time to do what they need to do to get it even better, right?
Yeah, 1,000%.
I've kind of erred towards that in recent times, just knowing how they faltered with past games, and don't want to have that mistake again. So yeah, I feel like they don't need it this year too. Just to say, not to say that hey, like, don't give us more of a good thing, but I just don't think they need it necessarily. So yeah, it is cool though, just to say if they are doing this, they mean they are listening to us, right? There's because many people wanted this, many people clamored for prototype. That's one of the things I saw when the ABK thing was getting situated. It was like, yeah, hey, oh, can we get prototype now? Oh, what about the what was the name of that dang series? The
Ultimate Alliance, a Transformers game,
GTA one. What's the GTA clone? I'm forgetting the name of it. The true crime and stuff like
True
that.
Crime, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? So I feel like that that could be a thing. Saints Row. Saints Row is not them though.
No,
it was True Crime. It was True Crime, and it was another one. What's that one other one that spent off? Anyway, that said, I feel like yeah, that could be the thing that. I mean that shows rather that they're listening. So that means that they're possibly we can look forward to next year. I think this gives a bigger thought to me that even beyond this game, they may be reaching into the old ABK vault and giving us the games we should have been getting inside of Game Pass anyway, right? So that's a possibility of that. I don't know, and I'm sure if they could add the games, I'm sure they would have done it already. But so there's some type of limitation, and maybe they got to get through some type of red tape, if you will, to get things all in the service. So I'm wondering what that could be, but I don't think they're just twiddling their thumbs for nothing, right? So once they get that ironed out, that would be cool for them to remaster or remake them. That would be good. I would want a full remake versus a remaster for prototype. I wouldn't want some. Not to say they couldn't put a spin
this
on
way.
It,
there were some screens that leaked.
There were some
and
screens
it looks again. I saw 2 of them. I don't have them in front of me. I'll DM you with the.
You know what's scary though, Boom?
It looks good.
In the year that we're in now, the year of our Game Pass 2025, AI is so crazy out there. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody used AI.
It could be fake. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: if it's real, dude. Like, I don't know if you saw anyone in the chat saw the again, I don't know if it's confirmed, folks, because it's he said it AI, but there was some screeners of Black Flag, bro. If I literally took a picture of it, you can look it up. I literally said the Ubisoft cooked on this. If those are real, my God, yes, I'll play Black Flag again from beginning to end, looking that good. Yes, please. That's one of my favorite in the series. But look,
Yeah. Oh, Thanatos, that's right. That's what it was, by the way. It was Sleeping Dogs, but that is Square Enix. That's right. Yeah. That's the one I was trying to get in my head. I'm like, is it Sleeping Dogs? But True Crime is the one that ABK owns, not Sleeping Dogs.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here today. Hopefully, you enjoyed the conversation enough to hit the like button before you get on out of here. A big thank you to all of the super chats, channel member chats, gifted subs, and continued support for Double Barrel Gaming. We are still waiting for K/C SEA to claim his $25 Xbox gift card, which he could probably use towards Xbox Game Pass. So DM me, email me, or message me on Xbox Live, brother. I don't worry, you won. I'll get to you. You're always here in the chat. I'll get to you. There's no rush. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you are not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. We have actually got 95 new subs in the last 28 days. I know that doesn't really mean nothing to you, but that's how we gauge our engagement. And I pay $50 a month for something called vidIQ. It's very expensive, but it helps me out because I'm a one-man team. Josie handles all the business aspect of it. Mrs. Boom, I handle the actual numbers game, and it does help. And 100 subs in 28 days is or at least near 100 is pretty good. But folks, if you can help us get to 17K, we're going to then move on to 18 and 25, 50, and then maybe even 100. One day I'll hold it with my plaque, with my old gray hair by then, because it's going to be years before we get to 100K, unless we can get somebody like some big star to jump on, like Drake or somebody, or, you get somebody to just pop in the chat and be like, hey, bring me on. And they're in the chat, and now we're talking with them like I'm talking with Umbra. Those are the times I'm waiting for that. That hasn't happened for the channel yet. Maybe one day. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of the support. And we hope that you enjoyed it. But Umbra, let's sell the brand, because tonight you're going to be back here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the new episode of The Fix. And I absolutely know that as you look into this, you are going to have additional thoughts. And I can only imagine what's going to come out of Daniel McGee's mouth. It is probably going to be a great show. And again, folks, honestly, it's, thumbnail creation is very difficult. As a matter of fact, it was the most difficult for me personally, because you're creating art, and you got to create with the viewer's mind, and eyesight in mind. It's tough. The thumbnail that Umbra made today is probably the best I've ever seen. Honestly, it's probably his best thumbnail ever. Tell the brand, brother. Where could people subscribe? Tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and more importantly, follow you on social media.
Let me do my Fix voice. Yes, join us tonight on The Fix, 8 o'clock p.m. on the Infinite Umbra channel. Be there or be square. Be there or pay $40 a month.
Pay $40 for that. I actually thought you were going to do a Paris intro to your channel.
But yeah, it's going to be a good show. I gave most of my thoughts really about it here, but I will say them and repeat them, and maybe I'll have more.
I think you're going to have additional thoughts, because what happened with me is yesterday happened, and I was very emotional, and I was trying to keep it a buck, like the kids like to say. But when I came back today, I had some time to sit on it, and I had additional thoughts. I think that's going to happen for you as well, especially when you consider the and I'd like to see you really take this an angle about the deluxe editions being a part of a deluxe price.
Yeah, that I'm definitely going to dive into it. I've actually asked both Danny, and now we have Crusader as well on the podcast.
Yes, excellent.
To kind of throw out a question or two to ask us as the panel. so that won't just be my little brain trying to operate and figure things out. So I do want to, and you already know Danny's going to be pessimistic. I'm sorry to tell y'all, if you thought he was going to be like, oh, that's a good thing, he's not going to do it. I'm going to tell you that now. So tune in to hear him dismember Xbox for this. I know Crusader is going to do it as well. So I'm going to probably have to try to balance it out a little bit and be more of the I guess middle ground, because I'm not exactly happy with it either. But yeah, Ray, let me grab that for you really quick. Sorry, I should have done that anyway. Let me grab that while I'm talking, Boom, if you will. I will say, yeah, I would appreciate if you guys could swing by and let me grab it directly. Well, so I can give you the channel, right? Yeah, if you guys could definitely, where is the link? Copy link. There we go. There we are. Sorry about that, folks. Let me post this into the chat here. There we go. Yes, if you guys could subscribe, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Ray, for pointing that out. Yeah, Xbox Gamer. I think that it was, if they, I don't know if they have like the future ownership of True Crimes, but whatever. I'm not sure, you know, how things can mix up, but they do own the past ones. That's for sure. They own the old ones. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, thank you all again in the chat for being here, holding us down, for supporting a great man and doing what he does in Boom, and Mrs. Boom, the missus. If there's anyone who I believe deserves all that support, Boom would be one of them.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, brother. And thank you, Boom, just for, you know, always being there to hold a brother down, man. You know, like you understand my situation. You know, the brother might doze off on you. It might just happen now. But you're like, hey, brother, it's all right. Don't you worry about it. I'm like, oh, Boom got me, man. Boom got me, you know. But yeah, appreciate you. And I appreciate you all in the chat. Yeah, if you all are free, if you could, or if you come back later, I don't care. It is what it is. Maybe leave a comment or two, you know, in the chat. Or in this comment section, rather, after the fact. I'll be posting it, of course, to Twitter. Right now, I already have the advert up right now on my timeline. It's Infinite Umbra, or Umbra Infinite. If you want to look for me on Twitter, you'll find me there. You can see the nice thumbnail that Boom complimented. I think it is pretty good too, being honest. It's funny, it's purposely tongue in cheek. You know, with them being all like, yeah, counting the money. But yeah, you guys come by and check us out. It's going to be a really good show tonight. We're talking about a few different things aside from the Game Pass hikes. I'm sure there's going to be the one that carries it through, because I know they got a lot to say. I'm going to try to fall back a bit because I know they're going to have a lot. So I'm going to give thoughts, but I won't drag it on. And yeah, we'll have a good show tonight, and we have a good show all the time, actually. So come by and check us out, y'all.
Well, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you, chat, for being here. We had almost 600 people watching live on a Thursday. Appreciate everyone for taking the time to check out the show. A lot of new names I've never seen before, which hopefully equates to subs. If you like the commentary, again, I try not to be negative. It bothers me to be negative, folks. And maybe that's not your shtick. Maybe you just live in the moment of being, you know, you like to see the world burn. We don't do that here. We try to make it fun, make it positive, keep it light. But on situations, or in situations like what happened yesterday, I'm never going to excuse the $4 trillion company from screwing its fans. I'm going to step up. I'm never going to lick corporate boots, and I'm never going to be an apologist. I love it. It's my brand of choice.
That's right.
It's the platform that I enjoy the most, and I support all three platforms proudly, gladly, and I will continue to do it as long as I can afford to. But I had to go, and again, I will continue to drive the point home on the socials to let Xbox know, even though I've been invited to things, I've been flown out to different locations to play games. I appreciate all that. But with that said, that does not excuse what happened yesterday. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. So I'm going to keep it a buck, and I'm going to give it to them, and I'm going to and pause for that giving it to anybody. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to be emotional. I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to be, throwing the hands in the air or any haymakers at anybody. but I am going to be pointed. And I hope that because I'm pointed and earnest, that you'll subscribe and you'll consider to support the channel by your views and your shares. But that's going to do it for us. Big thank you to everybody. Shout out to Thanaros, Stage on X, Rick L, the Black John. I didn't get a chance to actually greet everybody. It's something I enjoy doing. I probably do about 300 greets per show because I enjoy, we're not on anything, folks. I appreciate you being here, so I want to greet you. But thank you so much. KC, I see you, brother. DM me on Twitter. It's at Mr. BoomStick XL, or email me. Go to the about page of the Twitter, of the YouTube channel. You'll see the business email. Just email me and I'll send you over the code ASAP. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you being here. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully, one day, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me with kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.